Hey guys, Mr. Macberg here. In this video, we're going to look at a sine of a sum or a difference. Now, as we're evaluating the sine of a sum or a difference, here's the formulas we're going to use. So if we're doing the sine of u plus v, we're going to take the sine of u times the cosine of v plus the cosine of u times the sine of v. Or if we're doing subtraction instead, the sine of u minus v, then we're going to take the sine of u times the cosine of v minus the cosine of u times the sine of v. So in this example, we're going to try to evaluate the sine of 15 degrees using our sine of a difference identity. So 15 degrees can be rewritten, and I'm going to write it as 45 minus 30. So then 45 is going to be my u value, and 30 is going to be my v value. So I have to do the sine of my 45 degree angle times the cosine of my 30 degree angle minus the cosine of the 45 degrees times the sine of the 30 degree angle. Now we're going to use our unit circle from here to help us out. So the sine of 45 degrees is root 2 over 2. The cosine of 30 degrees is root 3 over 2. Minus the cosine of 45 is root 2 over 2. And the sine of 30 is 1/2. Now I'm going to multiply my fractions together. So root 2 times root 3 is root 6 over 4 minus root 2 over 4. Our fractions have common denominators, so we can put them together. So we're going to get root 6 minus root 2 all over 4. Our radicals have different numbers underneath the radical, so we're not allowed to actually subtract them. So this is going to be our final answer. Now, as we're taking a look at this example, we're going to try to evaluate the sine of 7 pi over 12 using our sine of a sum identity. So the first thing we need to do is break that 7 pi over 12 into two smaller angles being added together. And I'm going to use 4 pi over 12 plus 3 pi over 12, because each one of those fractions are reducible nicely to some angles on our unit circle. So 4 pi over 12 reduces down to pi over 3, and 3 pi over 12 reduces down to pi over 4. Now the pi over 3 is going to be my u value, and the pi over 4 is going to be my v value. So this is going to be the sine of pi over 3 times the cosine of pi over 4 plus the cosine of pi over 3 times the sine of pi over 4. And I'm going to use my unit circle to help me out from here. So the sine of pi over 3 is root 3 over 2. Cosine of 45 is root 2 over 2 plus the cosine of pi over 3 is 1/2 times the sine of pi over 4 is root 2 over 2. Now if I multiply these radicals together, I'm going to get root 6 over 4 plus root 2 over 4. Our fractions have common denominators, so we're going to put them together. So we're going to have the square root of 6 plus the square root of 2 all over 4. And I can't combine those radicals on the top since there are different numbers underneath the radical. So this is going to be my final answer. Now we can also use our identities to help us condense down a trig expression. So here we've got the sine of 32 degrees times the cosine of 13 degrees plus the cosine of 32 times the sine of 13. So I'm going to let the 32 degrees be my u value and the 13 degrees be my v value. Looking at how this is set up, this looks like my sine sum formula. So I'm going to be able to take the sine of 32 degrees plus 13 degrees. But this is going to reduce down to just the sine of 45 degrees. And the sine of a 45 degree angle is just root 2 over 2. That's going to be it for this video. Thanks for watching.